Hello and welcome to my channel, Bread and Roses. Today I'm making bread. How fitting for the first video. This is a very simple bread recipe, only with flour, salt, instant yeast, and water. So start off with 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then 1.4 teaspoons, 1/4 of a teaspoon. God, I can never get that right. I totally failed here, as you can see, and my cat got really interested in smelling everything, so that's her little feature in this video. But anyways, you put 1/4 of a teaspoon of instant yeast or dry yeast into this flour and salt mixture. And then you just add all that together. Take 1.5 cup of water, just dump it in there and mix it all together until it becomes, kind of like a shaggy mess, to be honest. It looks like it's never going to turn into bread. At least that's how I felt when I first made this recipe, because look at it. It doesn't look like bread. But you let this rise for 12 hours. You can go to 24 hours, but I find that around 12 hours is the best, because I just think the flavor is the best at this point. And as you can see, the dough has risen a lot, and this is after 12 hours, by the way, around an hour before I plan to bake it, I like to give it a second rise. So just kind of make it go down with a spatula and then let it rise again, as you see. This is very important for bread making. You should use some kind of pan, deep dish pan, that can be covered by a lid. I'm using my cast iron, and I'm preheating the oven to 250 degrees Celsius with the cast iron inside. And I add a little bit of corn flour to the bottom just so that the bread won't stick to the pan. Just add the bread and put the bread inside with the lid on and bake it first for 30 minutes with the lid on, and then you take the lid off, and the remaining 15 minutes you just let it bake without a lid, at the same temperature, everything. So 45 minutes altogether, and the bread turns out like this, something like this at least. And you can definitely, if you don't have a cast iron pan, you can, for example, use a Dutch oven if you have it. You can also use any deep dish pan that doesn't have any plastic or anything that's not safe for the oven. So don't use something with plastic or anything, but if it's just like an metal pan, you can put it in and find some kind of lid that can cover it. All right, so let the bread rest for 2 hours, around that time. Just because if you cut into it before, the texture of the bread will be not great. It will kind of ruin the structure of the bread inside. So I recommend to wait for at least 2 hours. So this crust is really nice and crusty, and as you can see, like, there's air pockets in there. That has a lot of flavor because it fermented for 12 hours, and it's just really good just with butter. You can make toast out of it. You can eat it with any kind of things you like to put on bread. French toast is really good with this bread, so I highly recommend that for soup, for anything you would make with bread, pretty much. Thank you so much for watching. All the measurements will be in the description below, and please subscribe.